I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you take a roll call, please?
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Here.
Hayward,
Here.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Here.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Nobody has signed in for public comment, so we will go on to a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the May 13th, 2019 regular meeting and the May 17th, 2019 special meeting. Los Hent, whatever the name of the restaurant is, Mexican restaurant, Class C commercial, and Sunday sales liquor license, May 18th, 2019 through May 17th, 2020. Sanity Room, Class B wine permit, Class C commercial, outdoor service and Sunday sales liquor license, June 19th, 2019 through June 18th, 2020. Del Rio, Class C commercial and Sunday sales liquor license, June 15th, 2019 through June 14th, 2020. Independence Day celebration special Class C beer, wine, and outdoor service liquor license, July 3rd, 2019 through July 7th, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. I need a motion to approve claims for payment.
I'd make the motion.
Motion by Kurtz,
Second.
second by Hannah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is Terrace Drive, public hearings. We need you to speak into the mic.
Danielle Jones,
Darrell Jones.
Okay, and address is?
119 Terrace Drive, Independence.
Okay, thank you. So they are requesting an easement in order to put in a driveway in the back of their house. Does there anybody have any questions for them?
Now, does this easement also apply to the rest of the homeowners that, down the line? Like,
They want to put in.
well, no, the easement we're granting.
This is just to their property. It does not go beyond that property.
Okay.
If there was something further to the south, that would be an additional easement adjacent to that property.
Okay.
So this is only accessing I think you're what, the fourth house?
Yeah, the fourth.
Right. So it would be just to that point.
So the first four houses will have that.
Well, in essence, they're taking responsibility from where the drive currently ends
Sure.
to their property.
So they have the right to use it all the way out to the First Street, hopefully?
Yes.
Okay, so
There's already a little, it's where the city park is, so there's already a road
Yeah.
there.
I just didn't want you to put in something in the,
Not be able to get out.
It's a small extension, just back there. I know everyone else kind of just built, and they just wanted to make it so they can actually do this and maintain it. And it does go on with the next homeowner as well, so let's say they leave in 5 years, next homeowner has to maintain it the same way,
Sure.
so.
So we're not responsible for the groundwater, the maintenance of it or anything?
You don't see any issues with it, do you, Todd?
No, not at all, I think it's great. The way they're doing it is,
What about the
it's good for us, so.
Yeah.
And great for them, so.
Do we maintain the snow removal on that street?
Actually, the next door neighbor maintains it for the city, kind of.
Well, he's a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah,
You'll probably have to just do your part of it, though, from, okay, okay. Any other questions?
Has the city traditionally plowed down that hill?
I think they're saying they don't usually do that during the winter. There's no reason to get down there.
Right.
So, tennis court in the wintertime.
Yeah, no, but I didn't know if in winter weather, in the winter without much snow, I've worked with somebody, we had to put in a wood floor, 9 houses down.
and then they drive back.
We
through there.
accessed it through the back.
Yeah, yeah. Like that, probably be on them, because you're not supposed to drive through the city property.
Sure.
So.
We didn't get anything in writing or?
I didn't
anything like
receive
that?
anything.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, going forward. I now need a motion then to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. I now then would need a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the access easement agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf, second by Hill. Roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes,
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes,
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. You have your resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is salary increases, of which I have a question or a clarification that I need. It is in actually the city manager's employment agreement specifies that, find my right page here. That if he has an approved evaluation, that he receives the same pay increases of all other city employees. And I did not see his name listed on this paper for, as employees or anywhere on it, so is that just an assumption because that's in his employment agreement that he does have that, or?
we talked in the government finance meeting about not giving him a raise this year because of the $112,000,
Assessment error.
whatever you want to call it. Here, I don't know.
But it's part of his agreement, his employment agreement. If you have any other increases and stuff, you guys can do those, but when it comes to his employment, then he's supposed to get an automatic, the same as any other employees.
I'll disagree with it.
I disagree with it.
How does that work, Steve?
I'm trying to find the section of it right now. If I recall from when I previously looked at it, it said if the administrator gets an I'm trying to find the provision right now. I didn't know this was on the issue for today, so I'm kind of scrambling. I think it was if the administrator has an acceptable evaluation, he's entitled to the same raise as other employees.
Right.
And I recall during the evaluation tabulating the marks, and the average came out to above a 3, which I believe is the basis upon which other employees are judged in terms of whether that's acceptable or not. So I think it could be said that objectively that was an acceptable review.
So can they change that when that's part of the employee agreement itself? Can that be changed?
I'm looking for it in the agreement.
is this something we could table and go
Discuss.
into closed session to discuss?
It could be discussed in closed session, subject to
I know it's not on
the city
tonight's
manager
agenda, but
electing to go in for discussion of performance.
I would not do that tonight.
no, that's, yeah.
So is it okay with you that we table it for another time?
That's
And then
fine.
you can choose? Okay. So we'll approve the rest of this without, because you're the only name that's not listed in there, or you're the only one that's not responded as to what the pay increases are in this resolution.
I think that's incorrect. I am also not getting the cost of living raise. I am also not listed for the cost of living. I am listed for a merit increase based on my receiving my certification.
Right. And you get that in over 2 years instead of one at one point.
But I would not be receiving the same cost of living raise as all the other employees based on that resolution.
Okay.
I guess.
I thought if you read that, it included cost of living. The last part of that sentence.
The cost of living is identified, my understanding from the committee recommendation was there was a 5% increase for her certification as municipal clerk, 2.5% in 2019, 2.5% in 2020. But in 2020, it would be in addition to any cost of living increase. So that reflects cost of living in the next cycle, if you will, or the next fiscal year, if there happened to be one. And that's not assuming there would be, but if there was, it would be in addition to that.
But she doesn't get it for this year.
That's correct, not under the current language.
Okay. Is that what the committee was recommending to that point?
I believe it was, yes. I would make a motion, we approve the resolution as written, and have the city manager discussion at a later time.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution for salary increases and have the address the one for the city manager at a later date. We need a roll call on that, I'm assuming?
I'm kind of mixed up here from what we've been, are we just doing the 2.5 for the city clerk and not what everyone else is getting on top of it?
Do you want me to cover that, John?
You may.
Yeah, okay. The 2.5% happens to mirror the cost of living that is in the department head as well as in the non-union, non-salary employees, but it is not for cost of living. It is the 5% increase for the certified municipal clerk achievement. That 5% was split into 2 years. They had looked at doing that over a 2-year increment as opposed to all in 1 year. It happens to be the same percentage in this case, but they are two different increments. The cost of living is not included in the city clerk's salary adjustment, just the certification recognition.
So we're not really giving any increase for being certified then?
2.5% for 2 years.
Yeah, but,
But then she's not getting anything for cost
you
of living
don't-
like everybody else is.
so you really, it's a wash.
That's correct.
I guess I assumed when I read this that it included both. You know, it included the raise that everyone else was getting plus 2.5%.
For the educational piece.
It does not.
Okay, I guess I'm just.
Yeah, in the committee's recommendation does not include that cost of living. And again, I know it's confusing, but it is the same number, but there is not a cost of living in there for the city clerk.
And again, the reasoning for her getting not having the cost of living increase like everybody else is?
The air in City Hall. $112,000.
Okay, that's what you want to know. Okay. We have a motion and a second. You need a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hayward,
No.
Hill,
No.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
approved.
Okay,
Yeah.
5-2. Okay, motion carried. Next on the agenda is Highway 150 presentations. Do we want to do this in any particular order?
However you call them.
Crawfords, would you like to go first?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, good evening. I'm Brian Crawford with Crawford Engineering. Dan and Larry, my business partners, are also here tonight representing Crawford Engineering. Thank you for inviting us in to speak with you about the upcoming 150 project. Al tells me there's 5 minutes here that I get. I'm going to try and cover 3 topics, so I told these 2 guys they're not going to get to talk tonight. 5 minutes at the podium isn't long for me. So, 3 things that I really want to cover here in the 5 minutes. 1, I want to demonstrate that we understand the project and all elements of the project. I want to assure you that our experience and our expertise aligns with all the elements of the project, and that we have the capacity to perform the necessary work within the schedule that we've discussed with the DOT personnel and Al and others in the Public Works Committee for the project. The project elements you'll see in the handout that you've just been given, we're doing removal and replacement. So the project starts just north of Dairy Queen. Okay, it's going to proceed north up to First Street, and then the First Street gap, and we start again at First Street and go north to the railroad tracks. So it's down there by Malik Motorsports, and the South Pole Barber Shop is where the project would begin. And it's all within the Highway 150 right-of-way. Removal and replacement includes paving with the curb and gutter, sanitary sewer, water mains, and any services that happen to be in the pavement, similar to what we've done on our other local improvement projects, where we take care of what's under the paving when we do reconstruction. Storm sewer, and then at the intersections, we'll take care of non-ADA compliant sidewalks and construct new sidewalks at the intersections for ADA compliance. And then the traffic signals on 2nd Street Southeast and 3rd Street Northeast. Those are also included in the project scope. So in a nutshell, we're talking about streets, sewer, and water. The second thing I want to talk about, we've got over 100 years of combined experience with streets, sewer, and water right here in our office in Independence. It's not only what we do, it's what we do best. We recently completed 3 DOT projects here in Independence that I know you guys are all familiar with. We know the DOT process from start to finish, the letting, construction management, construction administration, and then the closeout, the all-important closeout. We've got a proven track record of full DOT compliance and DOT reimbursement, bringing these projects in on time and on budget. What that tells us is that our plans are thorough, that they're complete. We don't make promises that we can't keep, so I want to let you know that we're comfortable with the schedule that we've discussed with the DOT. We can go to work on the project right away. The DOT is leaning toward a January 2021 letting with spring 2021 construction. So that gives us 15 months to submit preliminary plans based on the DOT's letting schedule. And in talking with the DOT, they prefer a local letting. That's similar to what we did on the 17th Street project. That was all locally let project. Let's see, our current staff, most of you know our current staff, Dan and Larry and Debbie, longtime community members and employees or owners of Crawford Engineering. We're also excited to announce that we've recently expanded our staff to include another engineer with 20-plus years of almost exclusive DOT experience. I will be introducing that engineer within the next 90 days to the committees and to council. Our home base, as you know, is 205 2nd Avenue Northeast, so we're within 2 blocks of the project. We feel that we can provide the most efficient and effective service to the city and to the community from our location. It's really centrally located for the project that we've discussed. Similar work, like I said, three recent DOT projects, all the street work that we've done, that I've done with you folks over the last four years, and then since the late 70s, Crawford Engineering has done here in Independence. I think we feel that we're a known quantity here in Independence. We've demonstrated our expertise in these projects, successful projects, right here in Independence. And I know my 5 minutes is getting close, so I will say that to close, I guess I want to thank you for your business, number one, through all of the years, and especially the last 4 years that I've been involved with. We appreciate the trust that you folks place in us as your local service provider.
Your 5 minutes is up.
That's,
Sorry.
that trust is not something that we take lightly, so, all right. The
Thank
timing
you.
was right on the money there. So, again, the handout that I've got has really the metrics of the project. We're in tune with that. You can let us know if there's any questions on any of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Next is Dan and AECom Group.
I brought a board today. This is mostly for the viewers at home. The same map is on the background of the handout I provided to you earlier. I'm gonna try and start and not rehash. Obviously it's a similar project. We all know what the concept is for the project. I wanted to start off, I know you're familiar with myself and Michelle Sweeney. We've been involved in the First Street project, which is currently underway, and we're doing the construction management. We completed the design, which followed the same DOT process that the Highway 150 project will follow. Along with that, I kind of wanted to bring along just a few other employees in our office, starting with Larry Wheely, who has over 26 years of experience in transportation. He was involved in University Avenue and then the Highway 58 interchange, which was a DOT project along Viking Road in Cedar Falls. We have Aaron Mueller, who's a land surveyor. He's got over 19 years of experience. He also does some field work and field tech. And then we have Michael Deegan. He's one of our younger employees, but he's done multiple DOT projects in the past. He's actually, we're working with the DOT on the HMA overlay. The DOT had contacted us in town here from Enterprise Drive North. We're gonna do the field review and construction management of that project. We're very familiar with the DOT process. We work at District 6 a lot. We do various projects. We have projects kind of in the eastern part of the state where we do various projects, on-call projects for the DOT. For this project, as our counterparts have already laid out what needs to happen for this project, we put together the concept statement, which you have all seen, and that's what was provided to the DOT. We worked with the city on that. That's where the funding allocation came from. The DOT used that in the city to come up with the funding that was allotted for this project. Within that concept statement, we talked about the cross-section of the roadway, the utilities, bringing the sidewalks up to ADA compliance. We also hinted at a couple possible issues that may arise that could potentially slow down the project or the paving, and some of them included, the proximity of those utility poles all along the corridor. We have had discussions with Independence Light and Power, and they have indicated, they'd be willing to work with us, during this. They would like to replace some of them maybe during the project, but some of them would be rather costly given the height is a main transmission line. So what we do is we'd want to work with them, possibly look at, modifications to the cross-section of that area to get a little more clearance so we could come in and, pave that road a one stretch. As far as schedule goes, yes, January 2021 is what we're looking at, and we're looking at letting this as one project in 2 phases. So we'd have 2021 construction and then the summer of 2022 as well. Preliminary talks with the DOT, we're looking at probably phase 1 as the north phase, while some of the work kind of on the south side, between Dairy Queen and Enterprise Drive is taken on by the DOT. And then we look at phase 2 as kind of the next phase. Project understanding, as I mentioned, we put together the concept statement, so we've reviewed as-built, worked with the DOT in developing that concept statement, cost estimate. With our experience with the design of the First Street project, we're also aware of the issues that can happen with the different utilities in the area. One of the big things we believe is key component to any successful project is also the communication with the public. I believe for the First Street project, we implemented a plan where we had various public informational meetings, we had stakeholder meetings. Those were very well received. And as we got into the construction, we also developed a Facebook page. And that Facebook page, we've done this for other projects in the past, for instance, University Avenue on Waterloo, and I think there might have been a couple people that have looked at that page. The Facebook page we put together for Independence for the First Street project, I think everybody in town has looked at that page. And we've gotten great feedback on that. We continually supply updates as the project progresses. For this project, we will do a similar public outreach program. Again, this is a high priority project based on the need, the condition of the roadway. I'm sure many of you drive this every day. I know I drive it daily. I'm local. I live in town here. So I know the condition of the road. I believe after the project concept statement and from what I tell, some of the patching the DOT's done on the road in the recent past. Okay. I'd just like to wrap it up. I would like to thank the council for allowing us to provide our credentials and qualifications for this project. We enjoy working in this town. I think the First Street project has gone smooth so far. We're on schedule, and we look forward to completing 150.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we need time for any questions, or?
Well, I think the first question is which one of these two can control the weather, so we make sure that this gets done.
And the one that promises that, we don't choose.
Yeah, because we know they can't. Okay, so otherwise I need a motion to approve a resolution to designating whoever you choose as the engineering firm for the Highway 150 project.
I'll make that motion to hire Crawford's engineers.
Okay,
Second it.
I have a motion and a second for Crawford Engineering. Roll call?
Hill,
Yes.
Sharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes,
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
No.
motion passed.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be back to the Public Works Committee next month, first of next month. We're excited to get going on the project, and we'll be back before council with a contract for you folks, so we can get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the police station lease, a motion to approve a 5-year lease with R&E Real Estate LLC for the city police station. Did we get a clarification on that thing for the air conditioning units and?
Yes, we did. I checked with the city attorney, and he confirmed that our concerns with the air conditioning units, it's been addressed, so that's okay. There is one window air conditioning unit. Actually, it's wall-mounted, but it's a window-type unit in the patrol officer's room, so there is a reference there that is accurate, so.
So, and it does include the ones up above too, as far as that 10% thing. Okay.
The question I did have is, looking through this, the owner of the property had indicated that they would be putting in lights in the parking lot and paving the parking lot. I don't see that addressed in here.
The paving is part of, if he has a long-term lease, he did confirm that as soon as we have a lease that he would secure the bids and start that process. The lights, he said he was putting in regardless of what happens here. That's something that's already on his list of things that he wants to have done in his presentation to the council. So that is not a lease type of an issue. That's more of an owner's improvement, if you will, or capital improvement for his property. But the parking lot, he will start on and confirm that in an email as soon as he has a longer-term lease. Now, this lease does reflect the extension that you've already approved. It honors that for next year. There is a step up in year 2 of this 5-year lease that is in between his original proposal and where we would be with the last year of our extension. And then it goes to a 3 years established. So it's 2281 in, starting July 1st. Next July, it goes to 2,500. And then the last 3 years are at 2,700.
And this does include the additional space, also the 1,500
It,
additional.
yes, in the first, I think it's the first paragraph, actually. Yeah, paragraph 1, it does identify the additional 1,563 square feet.
I would make a motion to approve the lease.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the 5-year lease with R&E Real Estate. Roll call, please.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill.
Yes. I would like to add that I do think the community, when we get a little bit more caught up on our road projects and things, we still need to look at the need for a separate police station. But at this time, I think this is our best bet. So,
Especially where we're not sure what Des Moines is going to do with
yes,
property tax relief or property tax abatement, things of that,
yeah.
of that nature.
Okay. Next on the agenda is wastewater treatment plant change. Motion to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $21,048.58.
Excuse me, just to clarify, there are 2 pieces to this change order. The total change order is actually $61,995.99. The council has approved $40,947.41 previously as a work change directive. But in order to submit this to the state for our SRF reimbursement, it has to be quote-unquote a change order. So that's included in here primarily as a record keeping for the state so that they would honor that in the SRF reimbursement. So the new changes are $21,048.58. This is primarily due to things that they found in the digester system. Once they took the insulation off, there's a number of pinhole leaks in there that have to be addressed. In order to begin addressing them, there's other steps that they have to go through. So these are things that could not be engineered because they're finding them as the digesters are emptied and they're getting in there to take a look at them primarily.
Is this for also for new parts within the digester itself? I couldn't make that out from the.
I'd like Mark address that. It's not so much inside the digesters, there's not a lot of parts there.
What was your question?
Is this for new parts or additional things inside that disintegrated because of age or?
Yeah, the hydrogen sulfide has apparently softened up the concrete and ate its way through it. So it's leaking now in multiple places. So a lot of these were, like the gaskets were changed because they didn't fit, right? They weren't going to fit, so they had to go with a sealant. That's to get the lid sealed so it doesn't leak after they get it done.
I had a question, Mark, on that sealant. It said the threads, there were not enough threads left to accommodate putting a seal, a gasket in there?
Yeah, the studs that are in the concrete, they're built right into the concrete. They were poured into the concrete. So when they put it together with the new lids, then they put a gasket on it. Well, the gasket was too thick.
That's what I guess I'm concerned, is there enough thread there to,
Going with the sealant, yes, there will be. 'Cause
so
That's what was there to begin with, was a sealant of some sort,
sealant and,
Gaskets, just seal it?
just sealant.
and that's lasted this whole time?
Yeah, this is much better sealant than what they used, so it could have been leaking all along, it's hard to tell.
Okay.
In the
All
big
right.
scheme of things, will the digesters be obsolete and replaced when we build a new?
We still need them possibly. There's also a chance you won't, I don't know 12 years or 10 years.
Right, right.
They may have something, it'd be cold storage or something, or go with a cake instead of a liquid,
Yeah.
digester. And one of the ads here was to core a hole in that one digester, and that's in case we have to walk away from that other digester. Because there's a good chance that that's gonna be no good, it'll be junk, because we have to drop a camera in there and look around to see how bad it is on the inside. So it's probably a pretty good chance that we may have to walk away from that one. So we need to have level sensing in the other digesters, because that's how the process works. It tells each other when to pump and when not to pump, so it keeps the digesters at an equal level. So that needed to be done, because the digesters are empty now, so. You might as, so. And some of that work from that first work directive, that number 1, may change too now.
I wondered about that.
It might be a little less, because if they have to walk away from it, I don't know there'd be no need to insulate that other digester, so it'd be a wash. So you probably have to do something to make it look good, but otherwise, all these were things that, new valves that we had to change, and because of the new way it's gonna have to work. But in '98, when they built this, they actually made it a secondary way to use the other digesters if something would happen, and so that's what we're probably end up having to do, is go to the other digester,
Oh, I see.
the spare one,
Sure.
and put that into service, so. But they'll probably have to spray an outside coating, that epoxy coating on some of that, then when we move to that other digester, just for a protective coating, an epoxy base.
Is the piping to the spare digester?
It's all there.
adequate? Good?
All ready to go, yeah. Yeah, the back one's in good shape, the number 1 digester's in almost new condition, really, because we haven't used it since '98, so we'll see what happens, so.
I have a question, Mark, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with this, but I had a couple of people tell me the company that was pumping emptying the digesters and then putting it out on the fields was actually out on 150 South spraying across the highway.
I don't think that was, no.
I had 2 people that told me that. I guess I prefer maybe we make sure that doesn't happen. It's not exactly.
It was always, unless they had a vacuum problem with their trucks, that'd be the only reason. Because I went down there several times and I never seen anything out on the highway.
Okay, well, I'll tell them that.
Yeah, I wasn't there all the time either, so. But
Okay.
I'd make a motion, we approve the change order.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kurt, second by O'Loughlin. Roll call, please.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
No.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Still hate those change orders? Yes.
Motion carried? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the First Street Bridge, Wapsie River repair.
Okay, so I got another handout for you guys.
You killed a lot of trees.
I know. This is follow-up from the last council meeting. You guys had a proposal from Iowa Wall Sawing to do some additional repair, actually on the First Street Bridge, and the concern was brought up that they had done some recent patching with some material that had popped out on the Third Street Bridge. So the handout that I have here is kind of a summary report, and the photos that are included in there are from the Third Street Bridge. So I don't want to, sorry if that's confusing. We're talking about the First Street Bridge repairs, but I wanted to show you kind of what's happening on Third Street out there. The initial patchwork that they started doing, Denny told me it was 2 years ago that they started patching on the Third Street Bridge, and the material that he used last year popped out over the winter, and he said that he brought the product rep back to look at that defect. The product rep really didn't have a whole lot to offer to him as to why that actually happened. So he has switched the product that he's using on the Third Street Bridge to a DOT-endorsed product. And these are pictures of him basically removing, the first picture on the left shows the removal down to the level of what he had patched last time. And you can see that it was letting water in because of the rust in those rebars that you can see. So the patch material was allowing that water salt to get in there and deteriorate the bars. Because I know Denny wouldn't have left it that way. When he had gone down to that initial depth, he would have cleaned those bars up, zinc coated them, and then prepared the patch. So the second photo is kind of a work in progress where they're actually going deeper. And then the third photo is just a close-up of that they've actually gotten down to the reinforcing steel in those places and gone around them, which is what the new product, and I think everything that Denny did followed the manufacturer's recommendation. I think it simply didn't take. So he is using a new product that's endorsed by the DOT Bridge Division. It's called Rapid Set. And Denny told me that he had attended a seminar on the product. They're expecting, this isn't a warranty, but they're expecting the product life to be 10 years on the patch. But he did tell me, and one of the specific questions in your guys' discussion was, is there other patching that we can go look at? And to see that it's lived a 5 or 10 year life and how it's performing. And he said, no, there's not. This is a new product again that the DOT is endorsing. He's been to the training on it, and he's going to give it a shot on the Third Street Bridge. And so that is what he would be proposing. That material is what he would be proposing for the work on First Street.
So what he put on Third Street just here recently is different than what he did the last time?
Yes. He did not use the same product that failed the first time on the Third Street Bridge. He used a different product that he has a lot more confidence in.
Brian, on the Second Street Bridge over here, hasn't that been patched? Sure looks like it.
Oh, yeah.
What did they do there? Because it's working, whatever it is they done there, it's still working.
Yeah, I would have to probably talk with Tim. That wasn't one of the ones that we looked at.
I noticed that the other day, there isn't a crack or anything in it. There may be a crack in it, but there definitely is no
Yeah.
holes, no potholes.
Yeah. No, Tim would be able to answer that question for you. We weren't involved in that particular patchwork, and I didn't look at that bridge. We did, however, go out and look at the First Street Bridge, and we did an evaluation of about 20% of the bridge. We did a chain drag test to identify how much area is actually delaminated, how much of that bridge deck is delaminated. And you can tell by the sound, John Kurtz was good enough to go out with me because I felt like I needed to show somebody so that they could hear, what it sounds like, the difference between a sound bridge material and unsound, and it's very distinctive. So, First Street Bridge, it's 256 by 43. It's a continuous concrete earth-filled arch bridge. Okay, it was built in 1917. That gives you a little bit of history. And in 1986, just before the DOT turned it over to the city, as part of that agreement to go over to the city, they rebuilt the bridge deck. So they put a new bridge deck on in 1986. That's what's failing out there right now is the 86 material. Like I said, we tested about 20% of the deck, and we're finding that if we expound upon that and multiply what we found by 5 for 100% of the bridge, there's a lot more there than what's included in Denny's measurements in his proposal. He identified 627 feet of patching. We're estimating it's going to be more than 3 times that.
And to put that in perspective, 627 feet is only 100 feet by 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
That's, when you've got that big a bridge, we could be in the $250,000 real quickly.
And you can see by the photos, it's labor intensive. They're sandblasting, they're chipping, they've got air tools, they've got, brushes and stuff that they're using to do the work. And again, I don't think there's anything that, it wasn't for lack of effort. Denny did follow the protocol of what the manufacturer recommended. but the patching, anytime you put a patch in a bridge deck, you've just introduced, at least 4 seams where water can still eventually get through. And some of the other photos that I took do show that the existing patches have shrunk over the years, and that's going to allow more sodium, more salt, more water in.
If they do this, how long will it be before we can drive on it?
The rapid set stuff is like a 6-hour, it starts.
They haven't opened
developing.
up Third Street yet.
I don't think have they completed that patch yet?
It looks filled in.
It looks like it's filled in.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just left the
It's been there
traffic
for
control
how many weeks?
in place.
About a week, I think.
More than that. Closer to 3, I
Yeah,
think.
it starts
Well,
developing
they,
strength.
they patched it, they filled it in about a week ago.
Was it just a week ago? Got filled in? I thought it was gone.
Drive it 20 times a day.
Yeah.
All right, go
Seems
quite a bit
like-
too in there.
Is his equipment still out there too?
No,
Okay, just the traffic control?
2 or 3 barricades.
He probably just needs to come and pull the barricades. Probably all that amounts to. I'll get to the point here. By the time you guys spend the 50,000, that's only gonna cover about a third, and his proposal is very upfront. That additional square footage is gonna result in additional cost. So if we have him do everything that needs to be done to the bridge, you're gonna be at that $150,000 to $175,000 number real fast. So, in looking at that number, once we discovered the deterioration and the level of deterioration, a thin bonded overlay for the entire bridge deck is really what we recommend the city look at for that bridge. The plans from 1986, we went and looked at those. They show that there's 2.5 inches of clear, basically, from the top of the concrete surface that they put in to the first reinforcing steel. And in talking with Tim Donnelly, he estimated most of those patches that are out there and most of the deterioration that they're finding is between 1 and 2 inches. 2 inches would be the deepest. So if we can mill that off and then come in with a concrete overlay, and this is a product and a method that's proven here in town. In 1978, there was one that was done on the Malone Creek Bridge over First Street. And if you go out there, I took John out there, he pounded all over that thing. And that's really, with the exception of a couple of real isolated spots and then some areas along where the bridge deck meets the approach slab, the rest of that deck is in really good shape. They use real fine, with that thin bonded overlay, they use a real fine aggregate to basically prevent shrinkage. So you got a good example of something like that, and I think you're gonna be real close to that $160,000 to $200,000 range to do something like that. I have spoken with a couple of contractors. They've given me some ballpark prices, and I think by the time you do everything that needs to be done with patchwork, you can do the whole thing, and do that thin bonded overlay. So that's our recommendation after the research that we've conducted.
I think, Brian, I wanted to clarify, you agree we need to replace the Malone Creek Bridge. It's not the deck that's the problem.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. Yes, that deck is not the reason why you're replacing that bridge. The bridge is functionally obsolete, so it needs to be replaced. It doesn't have pedestrian, the side rails and stuff are falling apart, there's exposed metal. So that doesn't have anything to do with why you guys are replacing the bridge. There's many, many other reasons why you're replacing that bridge.
It's
But
a shame because the road surface has completely outlasted
Yes,
everything else.
it's really good. So 40 years is what you can expect, based on that product, for such a project on the First Street Bridge. Another little item is that when the DOT did that, it was at the time of the timing. If you go out there and look at the First Street Bridge, you'll see that with the exception of the outer 1.5 feet of the bridge, it was tined. And that's just a theory, I guess, that the tining is what actually held the water and the salt-laden water, which is why that's deteriorated faster. So we wouldn't do that. We would do a smooth finish on.
Ballpark figure, what do you think it costs to redo the bridge?
To redo the, like the whole bridge?
Yeah. That's what you were talking about, don't you?
Well, just the thin bonded overlay.
Right.
I'm gonna say under 200, under 200,000. 160 to 200,000. And like I said, I think you're gonna be at, I think you're gonna be close to that 150, 160,000, just with the patchwork, if we do everything that we could go out and identify the bridge.
When Denny, or when Iowa wall sawing, I should say, when they get started, if they find these hollow spots, will they probably have to keep going so that they can make sure theirs sticks? I mean, I guess it's, once you start peeling,
Yeah, so basically, the three elements, or the three main work items of a thin bonded overlay would be grinding of approximately 2 inches of the surface, and they use rebar scanners in order to go out and make sure they're not gonna ruin their machine. So as they take off that first layer, they're gonna be looking at confirming that they're not gonna be running into steel with their next pass, essentially. And then they'll do some Class A deck repair, and in our cost estimate, we're assuming that there's about 20% of the deck that they may have to go into Class A repair, which is basically another inch, maybe exposed to steel, but so that's covered in the preliminary numbers that we're looking at, and then placing that thin bonded PCC overlay on the bridge.
now, I guess I wasn't clear. You'd said that right now we got about a $50,000 bid, and if they did everything they needed to do with Iowa wall sawing, it could be up to 150?
Yes.
I guess my question is right now they've specified a certain area that they're going to work on.
Yep.
But if they get out there and start to, as they show in these pictures, start to cut it back, if they run into bad spots on the edge of where they think they're gonna stop,
If they continue, you're gonna get billed by the square foot. The proposal states that very clearly. That if
but I mean, they won't just, if they come to one of those hollow places that you were talking about, they're not just gonna stop.
No, they'll go down and get to sound material. That's what's included in
But
their
they'll keep going if, they say, okay, this is my 5 foot here, and I get to the edge of where I think I'm going, and I find out there's another 3 feet of bad, they're not gonna stop at that one section.
I'm sure that they're gonna continue with your authorization.
Okay.
They're responsible.
I'm just saying how it could expand
They're gonna
into
come, yeah,
more.
they're gonna come back, I'm sure, before they do that, but they're gonna need a quick answer, because they're gonna be out there doing the work. And yeah, if it begins to rabbit
We
trail on
already
them,
approved
they're
for
gonna
Iowa
put
wall
extra
saw to do this.
You're gonna see a lot of change orders, Carl.
Hey.
I have visions of HGTV when they tear into these fixer-uppers. Pretty soon the wall's down and you got, no offense there, Dustin, I know you have a fixer-upper coming up.
I'm sure Brian would be more than willing to take any of the council members down there and
Yeah,
do
anybody
the
that
same
wants to-
demonstration he did for me, because
Yeah.
it was very eye-opening. I mean, it's incredible.
Yep, we've got a little chain drag that we utilize if anybody wants to see that. The bridge is closed, so now's the
So
time to
seeing
do
that,
it.
John, what would be your recommendation?
I would do the overlay like he's talking
Whole
about,
bridge.
yeah.
Years ago,
I think we could get
Ty
probably
Labor did the
another
same
20
thing
to
you
30
did
years out
over
there.
on the east,
Mhm.
when they were doing that.
Yep,
He said the same thing you did, as you are right now, Brian.
okay.
Just to let you know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Ty Labor
yeah.
out there, county.
So it's not the first time you've heard of it?
No, and he did the same thing with the chain, brought it down and showed me
Oh, okay.
exactly how it worked and everything, and
Okay.
you're right on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I guess the question is we are looking at 50,000, do we have 150,000 now?
What, to 200,000?
Probably not. The other issue that I see is I think that you're getting into a range where this would have to be a bid project. I don't think you can do it as a maintenance project at 150 to 200,000. So I think, I haven't seen these numbers until this evening here, but that would be my knee-jerk reaction is I think you want to look at a bid project, and I think we better do some looking to find 200,000.
And I apologize for not getting you the information sooner, Al. I was expecting to report back to the Public Works Committee, and so when I saw that it was on the agenda, we were ready anyway, but I didn't get the stuff to Al ahead of the meeting, so.
Yeah, the scary part of the original bid that we've got from Iowa Wall Sawing, I mean, wouldn't even cover the size of this room, I don't think. And we got a lot more bridge out there than this room. So it's gonna be plus, plus, plus all the way across that bridge.
Well, and, you know, if he only did the visible spots and cut it off, he felt like he's just gonna be back, just like with the Third Street Bridge, that he would just be back next year, you know, doing additional patchwork, because it's gonna continue to go out. So I think you're gonna spend that 200,000 anyway, probably over the next 3 to 5 years, I'll say. It's just a matter of whether you wanna fix the complete bridge and be looking at, that's your investment for 40 years.
Can that be done in half? We could leave half the
Yes.
bridge open?
Yep, the bridge is 43 feet wide, so there isn't a time, you know, this isn't, you guys are not under the gun to make a decision on this. It's 43 feet wide, so we can accommodate two-way traffic, and they can complete this overlay half at a time. So it's not you're not in crisis.
Not if they're gonna have a seam in it, not have a seam in it.
Say that again?
You said they'd do it without a seam in it, right? Pretty hard to do that.
Well, if they did it half at a time, there would be one seam down the center, yep.
It's in seam, no seam down.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would, you're absolutely right, that would be the advantage to doing it and closing the whole bridge, which is basically the
It's already
situation.
closed.
Yeah, the situation that we have right now.
How long is the whole
Yeah.
process from start to finish, grinding to where the overlay is down, open back up for traffic?
Probably,
Probably 3 weeks.
yeah, I would say you better count on, with mobilization, traffic control,
Weather.
weather. I would say,
Yeah,
to be safe, I'm gonna say 6 weeks, how's that sound? I think it could be done in 3 weeks if everything goes right, but I'm gonna tell you 6 weeks.
I like the answer
I'd
from
like
the
to see
first
that.
row
I know,
there.
I
See.
know.
Yeah, we have
I think
pretty
that-
adverse weather.
the trade-off of having the bridge closed to get the no seam, I think is,
And I think you're spending the same amount of money no matter how you do it, it looks to me.
yeah.
They said $50,000 to light everybody up, and then, of course, we get the bill and then get lit up again. It's
We
still gonna
can-
be a $200,000 project any way you look at it.
Yeah,
We can go out and confirm the other 80% of the bridge. Like I said, we surveyed 20% because I didn't want to do something that was more than what I felt I was authorized to do before speaking with you guys again. But we can go out and confirm those numbers and then report back. And at that point, we can, look at getting plans together to, like Al said, have a thin bonded overlay competitive bid process for that project.
But if we don't have the money right now to do it at all, why even,
Well, I think we better take a deep breath here, make sure we
Yeah.
can find the money. It's,
before we go any farther, period, for
I
any
think
expense on
for
it?
tonight, we need to not do anything with the Iowa wall sawing bid.
So we'll figure out how to pay for
What I,
Well, yeah, with the Iowa wall saw quote that we had, doesn't matter if we can pay for it or not, it's not gonna cover the work that has to be done, so, you know,
And
Yeah, at this
I don't
point.
think that was anybody's intent. We were gonna vote to resurface the bridge tonight, it just not to start a patchwork project to waste money.
yeah,
Any other questions regarding our report, or any other information?
Thank you, Brian.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to reports. Is Mark still here?
What do we, I guess we need, what do we tell Iowa Wall Sawing? Are we just not gonna do that, or do you need a vote from the council to not do that?
No, we haven't
I don't wanna
taken
leave
any.
you in a limbo.
Yeah, no, we haven't taken any action at this point, so I think we just stop and evaluate it. But even if we were going to go ahead with Iowa Wall Saw at 200,000, I think you're looking pretty serious at having to do a bid project versus a maintenance project. Your procurement policy says that, anything over 150,000, you will take out for bid. Well, we have a pretty safe bet we're going to be over 150,000, so we don't want to, risk any of our federal funds by trying to place in this.
Can we get any additional monies from the Iowa Bridge Fund?
We can take a look at that. I don't know that this is going to be an eligible project. We don't have the length of detour because we only have to go 2 blocks out of the way as opposed to miles. And the condition of the bridge, I'm not sure is going to rate high enough to be a competitive application. Malone Creek, we hit it on all cylinders and we got it in there, but we weren't the worst bridge in the application process.
Right.
So we can take a look at it, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Okay, moving on, reports. I have 3 department heads. Mark, do you have anything else you want to share? Dustin? You're shaking your head no, too?
He's hiding back there.
How about council committee? Has there any of them been done since our last meeting? Any committee reports? Is there anything on the watershed that we,
As a matter of fact, yes.
okay?
I was at the watershed meeting today, as a
I
matter of
thought there was.
And we had a new election for the board of directors, and I am now the vice chairman of the watershed committee, and Don Schocken has been reelected as the chairman.
He's the chairman, and you're the vice?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Lucky you.
Thank you, Julie Althouse, for recommending me.
Is there gonna be an acceptance party?
No.
Any other committees?
I think we ran into an odd month because our committees primarily met after the committee of the whole. So you'll see several items on the next committee of the whole on June 3rd that did come out of the committees, so.
Okay. Okay, I'll start with you. Bob, pick a name out of a hat. You get to start this time, we'll go around.
I've been out of town, so I don't have anything.
Okay. Carl?
Well, nothing too big here. Just had a couple concerns, and I know, I'll just say that the cemetery down by the Dairy Queen, we always try to make it look sharp. I know we do, especially on the Memorial and the 4th. I know they try to do their best, and the weather and stuff. I just had a couple, I didn't have anybody break my doors down or anything, but they didn't think it looked as sharp as it has in the past. Wasn't trying to make excuses for anybody, just that it was mentioned. I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, I've very, very strong concerns and many calls from constituents about the stoplights down here on the 150 South and 2nd Street. 2nd
Street?
Yeah.
The detour's that we've been
On
having.
the north and southbound lanes, they have a yellow light, and then east and westbound lights, they have a red light. And my wife was in a near miss on Saturday, and 2 teen drivers, their grandparents, both called me this afternoon within 10 minutes of each other that it's not a good situation.
But
Well, people
but
don't know
it's
how
not that
to-
way all the time.
No.
It's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's real sporadic.
Yeah.
The controller's bad, it gets a low voltage reading, and it goes into the flash mode. And by the time IndyTel gets down there, most of the time it's fixed itself. Sometimes they'll reset it, fix it, it'll hold for 20 seconds, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. But the controller's bad. They've ordered the controller, they're waiting for it. Mr. Tudor's trying to put a rush on getting it here. They'll put it in as soon as it gets here, but whenever it gets that low voltage reading, it flips into the flash and then comes back out.
Can we just go to four red light, I mean, a four-way red, four-way stop?
That was suggested. They didn't think that that was going to be prudent on Highway 150.
I don't care what they think.
The red
The
doesn't.
problem is you don't know if the other traffic has flashing yellow or
Yeah.
flashing red.
Yeah.
It's
If they
really,
realize the problem in the
That's what's
in the
bad.
liability.
yeah.
Well, the default is what you're seeing right now. I don't know if they can set it so it's a defaults to a four-way red or not. But again, they're trying to get it fixed. It's happened, well, how many times now? And it's ongoing, no question about it.
Worst case scenario, put a four-way stop sign right there in the,
When do we put it out? Because it comes and goes.
All the time.
I mean,
just.
Put one of our.
make it a permanent four-way until we get
Until
it.
they get the part in that
Shut
needs
the
to-
light off and put a four-way stop
Yep,
up.
until we get the,
I'll check with DOT and find out if that's an option.
That is, I think I brought it up a couple of 4th of Julys, that goes to that. And when you're trying to go east-west, it's like playing Russian roulette to pull out.
Well, the other-
take your light.
Or a four-way
the other day
stop.
It was flashing
Or
during the
for- with
day,
it- when it does that.
yellow and red, and then at night, it was working, after, normally when it goes to flashing, then it was red and green. There wasn't a car in sight, but it was doing red and green.
Yeah.
It was doing the flashing when I left here this afternoon about 3:30. When I came back at 5, it was working fine,
3:30 is a busy time.
but.
Yeah.
But DOT has to,
Well, it's on Highway 150, so we'll want to make sure that
Yeah, that.
they concur with whatever we do.
okay.
Well, and with the way we've got traffic right now, we got a lot of high school kids that are using that bridge as the only,
Well, it's not just, adults don't know how to utilize it when it's red one way and
well, I'm
yellow
just
the
talking
other.
about those
can't see it,
that,
though.
that just
I
got
had
their
a semi-
driver's license. They're not, it's, you know, if you just got your driver's license a month ago, it's not a good setting to have to get into. I'm not saying every teenager's a bad
Yeah.
driver, but experience helps.
Well, and even the adults, like you said,
Yeah.
when one side's yellow and the other side's red, who's gonna stop, who's gonna let you in?
When I came up to it, when I was wanting to turn to go south, a semi got to the intersection, and he just stopped there and goes, in motion for me, he's like, okay, and I went, I watched to make sure nobody else was starting up, and I made my corner. And how it followed afterwards, I didn't care, I got out of there, so we'll go from that. Anything else, Mike?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple things. One was, there was a pickup down by the river in the northeast part of town, sat there all winter long, and I was told about this in March or April, but didn't check it out till checking the water last week. Clearly, this truck was 2 feet from the curb, on the front tire, a 2x4 underneath it sticking out into the road. I was told the street cleaner went around it all winter long. The cops should at least patrol that, I would think, once a day. And none of that was ever reported to Todd Schertz. Todd Schertz is one man, and I think he's doing us a good job. But I think our other departments need to step up and help. That shouldn't have happened.
Why would that have been Todd's responsible for a
He's
truck
a
in the
code
street?
enforcer. I called him, he got rid of it that day. So I'm just asking their departments to step up and help. And I don't think that's a big thing.
Okay.
And another thing is, Ellen, your one email on your weekly update in the paragraph that starts out, these are increasing number of incidents where individual council members are providing directives to department heads or contractors outside of council meetings. I think if you're gonna put something in there like that, you should address us one-to-one, so we know what the incident is.
Well, I
And-
didn't call anybody out specifically. It's just a friendly reminder.
But where is crossing the line at? I mean, something had to precipitate that. And I feel like I could be one of them, and I emailed back, but I never got a response from that.
Well, again, I'm not calling anybody out. If
I
it's
think we need to be
something,
called out, so we know.
It would really
Otherwise-
help, I think.
Otherwise, everybody's
Because
got to be
everybody's
thinking,
going,
well,
Who did what?
who did I talk to?
Who did I talk to all week?
Did I cross the line? Do you get where I'm
Did you,
coming from
did
on
you
that?
talk to any of the department heads, or try to tell them what to do?
This says, or contractors. And Dan called me, and it was about putting the arrow down for the business parking lot. The beginning of May, we had a committee of the whole. I asked if that could happen.
Yeah,
The next week, Dan comes to the council meeting. I asked again, and he said, this is the first I heard of it. I would really have thought, as a city manager, you would have checked into that. Yes, it can be done. No, it can't be done. 3 businesses asked me about it. That is my ward. But I was also told by the 3 businesses that they asked 2 other council people too. They think that, hey, I asked 3 council people and nothing got done. You know, not an answer one way or the other. Even if it's not the answer they want an answer. Now Dan says that it'll be in maybe as early as tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got the signs ordered. Once we found out about it, we got the signs ordered, and they were shipped out last week, so with the holidays, they should be in here any day.
So I don't know if that's one of the issues in there. I mean, I think all of us should be able to read that and say, is that me? What did I do?
I read it, and because I didn't have any guilty conscience or feel like I'd done anything, I ignored it. So,
I don't have a guilty conscience when I talk to people. And
So do
I
I.
would talk to people, whether I was sitting here as a council person or if I was in the public.
Yeah.
I pay taxes. I'm asking, if you think that
I do
I
too.
did something wrong, talk to me about it. Don't put it on an email and make everybody else think, did I do wrong, or should they just think, or just ignore it? I don't know how everybody else feels about it. Maybe I'm speaking and they don't feel that way. I don't know.
No.
But that's what I'm asking for, is that if you think I did something wrong, let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
And a phone call is a great way.
okay,
Thank you.
Benny?
You're a hard act to follow, Deb. I don't have anything.
Okay, John?
I've got nothing else.
Get you
Thank
up to
you.
speed.
Mike?
I'm good.
Okay. Gina?
No, thank you.
Al?
Just to let everybody know, the Chamber Golf outing is coming up in June. If anybody has an interest, let us know. And the League of Cities Tim Shields fundraiser is also in June, if you have an interest. So,
That's the golf tournament, isn't it? Or-
yeah, both are golf. The one for the Tim Shields has some other activities, but it's just the one day.
I would be interested in the chamber one.
Chamber what?
Anything else?
I mean, I gotta learn how to play golf now?
Yep.
What is this, World Cup?
That's a requirement of a council person.
By June 1st.
No, it's not.
Either that or drive the beer cart.
Hey, I could do that.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
You reminded me of 2 different things. Number 1, I did get approved, so I'm now one of the chamber directors for the next 2 years. And when it came to, when you're talking about golf, Cedar Valley Hospice used to have an annual golf outing, I think with Rabbit Donnelly as, in memory of him, and they no longer do that. So now they are doing a luncheon, which is scheduled for the 11th, or next week, 2 weeks from today, out at Heartland Acres. Starts at 11:30 to 1, where they'll have a meal, and when you pay to be there, you also get a forget-me-not plant, and you can buy extra ones if you want, and there'll be a silent auction and such. So you can get on the Cedar Valley Hospice website to join that. We have a committee of Friends of Cedar Valley Hospice, of which there's 2 of us on it, plus the gals that work for Cedar Valley Hospice, so we could use more help on that. Other than that, I have nothing else, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf, second by Denny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.